Planning a trip to North Korea begins with choosing an operator, since tourism is tightly controlled by travel agencies and state bodies that offer guided packages with fixed itineraries. Depending on the length of stay and the standard of accommodation, the price of such a package varies significantly, covering options from budget short visits to extensive programs lasting several days and offering more diverse attractions. On the market, there are offers from long-established agencies that publish prices in euro and propose three basic packages: economy, standard, and premium for guests expecting higher comforts and private local services. Minimum prices for short tours can start at less than €600 for a basic package that includes travel by train or bus and basic accommodation in tourist hotels. The mid-range of offers often sits in the range from €900 to around €1,500, which usually includes more comfortable rooms, additional entries, visa fees, and air transport as an upgrade. Premium packages and special themed expeditions, for example those linked to a marathon, festivals, or ski trips, can cost from around €1,700 to even several thousand euros depending on the length and program. To the basic costs one must add the fee for issuing a visa, which with some organizers amounts to an additional around €50 and is sometimes billed separately from the price of the tour package itself. The option to travel by plane instead of by train raises costs, because the flight from Beijing to the capital is usually treated as an upgrade with an extra fee, but it shortens transfer time and is often preferred by people who value convenience. Meals in hotels and selected dinners are most often included in the package price. However, alcoholic drinks, snacks, and souvenir purchases usually require additional expenses paid in cash by tourists. Guest hotels for foreigners offer varying standards, from simple rooms with basic amenities to hotels of higher standard, and the choice of accommodation class significantly affects the total cost of the trip. When booking, it is worth remembering that some attractions may require additional entrance tickets, for example larger performances or exhibitions, whose prices are variable and depend on the event and its status. For those planning intensive souvenir shopping, it is recommended to bring cash in euro or in United States dollars and in Chinese yuan, because card transactions are practically impossible at most service points. The absence of functioning ATMs and limited access to card payment services means the necessity of bringing a sufficient amount of cash, and guides often recommend a daily budget. In practice, some travelers suggest preparing the equivalent of around $50 United States per day of stay for small expenses, drinks, and souvenirs, although actual needs depend on individual preferences. Some special trips, for example to coastal regions or economic zones, have separate prices and seat limits, which means organizers generally require advance booking and a deposit. In the case of trips to zones such as Raisin or to sporting events, agencies sometimes offer promotional packages at lower prices, but access to them is selective and can be restricted for certain nationalities. Hostels and guest houses outside the capital feature lower fees, but their availability is highly dependent on the approved route and the number of places allocated for a given circuit. This is worth taking into account when planning a trip. Many companies offering travel to this country include in the price a guide and internal transport, so the traveler does not have to organize logistics themselves, but at the same time loses flexibility to move outside the program. Additional medical insurance and special policies covering political risks are sometimes recommended and generate further costs, and some insurance companies do not cover the risks associated with staying there at all. For citizens of certain countries, there are legal restrictions and travel bans, which may result in the need to obtain special permits or to use intermediary services, which in turn raises the price of the whole trip. Seasonal promotions and periods of lower traffic can reduce rates. However, key state events determine dates and prices, and organizers raise prices on occasions of great propaganda significance. International transport costs to the departure point, usually Beijing or Dandong, should also be added to the total trip price, and air and train tickets have separate fares depending on the season. Some agencies sell a Flight Plus package option, which simplifies logistics, but the client pays for a comprehensive service and should compare offers before deciding, paying attention to hidden fees and details concerning meals. Bills in restaurants intended for foreigners can be higher than local prices, and imported drinks may be priced comparably to those in tourist regions with limited foreign supply. In some travelers' accounts, there are reports of ski trips which, due to the availability of places and infrastructure, are sometimes sold as dedicated packages with specific prices. Organizers require compliance with rules concerning protocol and behavior, and any program extensions at the participant's request must be agreed in advance and are often subject to additional charges. Before traveling, it is worth preparing a list of expenses, consulting available payment options, and comparing offers from several operators in order to build a secure budget and avoid unpleasant financial surprises on the spot.